James Hind burst onto the scene with a righteous fury, captivating the public with his tales of battling online predators. A self-proclaimed child protection advocate, he cultivated an image of unwavering dedication to exposing the darkest corners of the internet. Hind spun yarns of infiltrating pedophile rings, posing as a vigilante who lured predators into his web. His online persona, Mordred, became synonymous with righteous anger and unwavering pursuit of justice. News outlets and social media platforms amplified his story, turning him into a digital folk hero. Hind's claims resonated deeply with a public increasingly concerned about online safety. He painted a picture of a digital world teeming with predators, lurking in the shadows of chat rooms and forums. His self-proclaimed exploits offered a sense of security, a belief that someone was out there fighting back against the unseen evils of the internet. Donations poured in to support his cause, funding what he claimed were elaborate sting operations. Little did the public know, the truth was far more sinister. Behind the facade of a valiant crusader, James Hind was weaving a complex web of lies. His online persona, Mordred, was a carefully constructed fiction, a digital mask designed to conceal his true motives. Hind fabricated elaborate stories of his exploits, embellishing details and inventing encounters to bolster his image. He claimed to have military experience, hinting at a past shrouded in secrecy and danger, further fueling the mystique surrounding him. To solidify his credibility, Hind surrounded himself with a fabricated network of experts and supporters. He claimed to collaborate with law enforcement agencies, boasting of inside knowledge and access to classified information. His social media accounts were filled with staged photos and doctored screenshots, creating an illusion of legitimacy. Hind understood the power of visual storytelling in the digital age, and he exploited it masterfully to build his deceitful empire. Enter Matthew Taylor, a former Royal Military policeman with a keen eye for detail and a deep-seated sense of justice. Taylor had dedicated his life to upholding the law and protecting the vulnerable, and something about Hind's narrative didn't sit right with him. Driven by a suspicion that things weren't as they seemed, Taylor embarked on his own investigation, determined to uncover the truth behind the vigilante's facade. Armed with his military training and a healthy dose of skepticism, Taylor began to meticulously dissect Hind's claims. He scrutinized the online trails, analyzing timestamps, cross-referencing locations, and meticulously verifying every detail. Taylor utilized advanced AI tools to analyze patterns in Hind's communication, uncovering inconsistencies and contradictions in his stories. What he discovered was not a valiant hero, but a master manipulator, preying on the public's fears for his own gain. Matthew Taylor's investigation revealed the unsettling truth about James Hind. The vigilante was a fraud. Hind's elaborate tales of infiltrating pedophile rings were nothing more than fabricated stories, designed to garner sympathy and financial support. He had no real-world experience in law enforcement or military operations, his claims nothing more than empty boasts. The network of experts and supporters he claimed to collaborate with were either fictional or unwittingly caught in his web of lies. As Taylor dug deeper, he uncovered a pattern of manipulation and deceit. Hind had been exploiting vulnerable individuals, preying on their fears and anxieties for his own personal gain. He inserted himself into online communities dedicated to supporting victims of abuse, offering empty promises of justice and retribution. Donations intended for victims ended up lining Hind's pockets, fueling his lavish lifestyle and feeding his insatiable need for attention. Section 5. A campaign of lies. When confronted with irrefutable evidence of his deceit, James Hind reacted not with remorse or contrition, but with venomous aggression. He launched a vicious smear campaign against Matthew Taylor, attempting to discredit his accuser and salvage his crumbling reputation. Hind accused Taylor of being a pedophile sympathizer, a desperate attempt to deflect attention from his own wrongdoings. Hind's online followers, blinded by their unwavering belief in their hero, rallied to his defense. They bombarded Taylor with death threats and harassing messages, attempting to silence his dissenting voice. The online world, once a platform for Hind's fabricated heroism, had transformed into a battleground where truth was the ultimate casualty. Section 6. The walls close in. Despite Hind's desperate attempts to discredit him and silence his critics, the walls were closing in. Media outlets, initially captivated by his vigilante persona, began to question his narrative. Journalists, armed with Taylor's evidence, published scathing exposés, unraveling the carefully constructed web of lies. The public, once enamored by his tales of heroism, began to see Hind for what he truly was, a con man who had exploited their trust for his own selfish gain. Law enforcement agencies, initially hesitant to get involved, could no longer ignore the mounting evidence of Hind's fraudulent activities. A criminal investigation was launched, focusing on allegations of fraud, identity theft, and harassment. The online hero, once lauded for his bravery, was now facing the prospect of real-world consequences for his actions. Section 7. A pattern of deceit. As the investigation into James Hind's activities progressed, a disturbing pattern of manipulation and deceit emerged. Authorities discovered that Hind had been exploiting vulnerable individuals for years, preying on their desperation and grief. He had contacted families of missing children, offering false hope and promising to use his unique skills to find their loved ones. In reality, Hind was simply capitalizing on their pain, using their tragedies to bolster his own image and solicit donations. One particularly heartbreaking case involved the family of a young girl who had gone missing several years prior. Hind had contacted the family, claiming to have information about their daughter's whereabouts. He had strung them along for weeks, fueling their hopes with fabricated leads and empty promises, only to vanish when they pressed him for concrete evidence. The emotional toll on the family was devastating, compounding their grief with a cruel sense of betrayal. Section 8. Justice prevails. After a lengthy investigation and a highly publicized trial, justice finally prevailed. James Hind was found guilty on multiple counts of fraud, identity theft, and harassment. The court heard harrowing testimonies from victims who had been deceived and manipulated by Hind's elaborate schemes. The judge, in his sentencing remarks, condemned Hind's actions as despicable and a calculated assault on the public's trust. Hind was sentenced to a significant prison term, a stark fall from grace for the once celebrated online vigilante. His empire of lies had crumbled, leaving behind a trail of shattered lives and a profound sense of betrayal among those who had once believed in him. Section 9. Picking up the pieces. In the aftermath of the James Hind scandal, a collective reckoning took place. The public grappled with the uncomfortable realization that they had been deceived by a master manipulator. News outlets and social media platforms faced criticism for their role in amplifying Hind's lies, sparking a debate about journalistic responsibility and the dangers of online misinformation. Most importantly, the real victims of online exploitation and abuse were left to pick up the pieces. Hind's deceitful actions had not only defrauded individuals of money, but had also inflicted immeasurable emotional pain and eroded public trust in genuine efforts to combat online predators. The task of rebuilding that trust and ensuring that the needs of true victims were not overshadowed by sensationalized narratives fell upon the shoulders of legitimate organizations and advocates. Section 10. The price of deception. The downfall of James Hind serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of deception and the importance of critical thinking in the digital age. It highlights the dangers of blindly accepting information at face value and underscores the need for skepticism, especially when dealing with individuals who claim to possess extraordinary abilities or insights. The Hind case also underscores the crucial role that individuals like Matthew Taylor play in holding power to account. Taylor's unwavering pursuit of truth, his willingness to challenge a popular narrative, and his courage in the face of relentless attacks serve as an inspiration to us all. It reminds us that even in an era of online misinformation and manufactured outrage, the truth still matters, and individuals can make a difference. Section 11. Conclusion. A legacy tarnished. James Hind's legacy is forever tarnished by his deceit. The once celebrated vigilante will be remembered not for his fabricated heroism, but for the callous manipulation and exploitation that defined his true character. His story serves as a cautionary tale about the allure of online personas, the dangers of unchecked power, and the importance of vigilance in the face of seemingly righteous crusades. The scars left by Hind's deception run deep, serving as a stark reminder that even in the digital age, where information flows freely and anonymity reigns supreme, truth and accountability still hold immense power. It is a power that we all share, and one that we must wield responsibly, both online and off, to ensure that justice prevails and that the voices of true victims are never silenced.